Typically, what kind of benchmarks do you recommend that the clients to gin up for the bidders?
So it's the strongest advice is always the customer's own benchmark codes or a relevant set of benchmark codes. For some customers that's easy because they have a dominant code or a dominant set of codes that run on the system. For a lot of projects, let's say you're working with a national academic HPC system, the process of selecting the right codes can itself be a massive stakeholder engagement process to get not only a range of codes that fairly represent that fairly test the different parts of the architecture, but also fairly represent both the likely user workload of the system over the next 3 years or whatever it is, but also the likely politics of those who are going to be involved in supporting the system over the next 3 years.
Steve? Oh, sorry, Barry.
In your perspective, do you think customers are getting better over time at coming up with scoring that represents the true value that they're trying to get out of systems? Because benchmark seems pretty narrow from a value of, over time. I just want your perspective on that.
The ones who are paying us are getting better, yeah.
Bill?
So I thought that was very good, and all the lessons are well fought and learned lessons, but I'll quibble with something, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So you used the word scoring many times in your presentation, and I would suggest you change that to assess or evaluate, because numerical scored methods are highly restrictive, and I know sometimes legally you have to do that, but you move away from best value, and rigorously evaluating rather than saying I have to assign a numerical score gives much more freedom to making the right choices. So you might evaluate with numerical scoring sometimes. You might evaluate based on numbers, but it implies the only way to do that is with a rigorous scoring matrix, and I think that that's an older way of doing these types of procurements that is limiting. So we can debate that, but that's my...
I think that's a very good point. So I still think, so yeah, you're right, I used the scoring as the word. So you need an evaluation form or an evaluation process that is very clear and defendable. The part of making it defensible and robust is having the thorough evaluation and assessment underneath everything. And you're right, you can't stick a number on everything. But at some point you have to have some relative ranking of the bids in order to be able to justify the decision you're making. And it may well be that ranking is based on a subjective description of why one is better than the other rather than a score of performance, which is what I meant by that. And you can have a scoring system that takes into account value that is not just financial or not just one system is faster than the other. We help customers specifically to develop scoring matrices or evaluation matrices that don't end up with always buying the cheapest system or don't end up with always buying the system that's fastest on the benchmarks. We help people get around that.
Yes, I certainly have to agree with you. I have seen procurements go severely bad when the vendor successfully gamed the scoring system.
Exactly, that's right. That's what you need to think about.
Other questions? Okay, thank you, Andrew.
This one here.
John.
What's your thought about all or nothing bids where compute, storage, software, networking are all combined as opposed to looking at each major technology as a separate acquisition?
That really depends on the customer use case and things like how they're securing their funding, but how it's all going to work together over time. There isn't a general answer to that.
Okay. All right.
Okay, good.
Thank you.